Hi friends, and welcome back to Country Legacy. If you are new here, my name is Melinda, and in today's video we are going to be making a creamy pasta salad. This side dish is great for a side for any meal, as well as for a barbecue or a potluck or anything like that. It's really easy to throw this together, and there's so many variations and things you can do with this. And as we go, I will give you many tips on ways that you can customize just about everything. So let's get started. We're going to be doing 2 cups of pasta, so you'll want about 2 quarts of water in the pan. I already have water in here. I'll get this turned on medium-high heat. And then I always like to salt my pasta water. It just really enhances the flavor of the pasta. So we'll be cooking our macaroni slightly past al dente. You don't want your macaroni to be too tough or too hard, but at the same time you don't want it to turn into mush. So I recommend staying right there close by whenever you're making macaroni, because in reality, if you mess that stuff up, your macaroni salad is not going to taste very good. The best thing to do is to sample a piece of macaroni when you think it's getting close and see what the texture is like and see if it fits what you think will taste good in your salad. I'm going to be using these organic small elbows that I got from Missouri Standard. This is the first time I'll be using these, so it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. But I bought a 10-pound bag. I just cut out the label and I stuck it in this jar, and then I have another backup jar as well. And the water is boiling, so I'm going to put in 2 cups of pasta. You always want to make sure that your water is boiling before you put your pasta in. There's 1 and the second one. I'll give this a stir, and then I'm going to keep a really close eye on this. Okay, I just sampled the macaroni and it's done, so I have it turned off. And now we'll take it over and put it through a strainer, drain it, and then I'm going to rinse it in cold water to cool the macaroni off, otherwise it'll keep cooking. I made sure to thoroughly drain the macaroni, and now I have it in a bowl. And I have all of my vegetables here ready to chop to put inside of the salad. And I'm using the purple onions. You can use green onions or shallots or a sweet onion. I prefer not to use the Spanish cooking onions because I feel like they're a little too strong, but that's a personal preference. I'd say use what you enjoy, or maybe it's what you have on hand. I try to dice them up pretty fine. Get these over on the macaroni. Okay, I'll chop up this cucumber now. And in place of cucumber, you can use a dill pickle, a sweet pickle, just chop it up small, or you can use relish, or you can omit it completely. I will put a recipe down below, but I kind of go more by looks whenever I'm putting together a salad. I put the vegetables on the macaroni and I decide if it looks like there's enough. But I will have a recipe in the description box below. Most of these vegetables came out of our garden, and these cucumbers are a little bit overripe, so there's a lot of seeds, so I'm picking some of that out. When it comes to pasta salad, I really like to have cucumbers because I feel like it adds a nice fresh element. And now we'll do our green pepper. I showed in my last video how I cut them to make it the easiest way possible, in my opinion. I know everybody has their preferred ways, but I just feel like it makes it really fast doing it this way. And I cut these strips really small. I would say that I'm doing about a 1/2 cup of each vegetable, but I will link a recipe in the description box below that you can follow. But typically I like to just look at it as I put it in the bowl and see if it looks like the right amount. But I understand that if you're new to it, you may want to use a recipe just to make sure that you're getting a good ratio of each vegetable. I think I got a few extra green peppers here, but that's all right. Green peppers add such a nice flavor. You can add jalapenos, or for more color, I would rather have red peppers because it would add a lot of color, but I didn't have any in the garden right now. And for a really nice crunch, we'll add celery. And the size that you cut them is really a matter of preference. I usually cut mine kind of small. So I just dice them up. And if you don't like celery, you can leave it out. I can't think of any substitutions that you would use in place of celery. Maybe somebody can comment and let me know what I might not be thinking of. My husband does not care for carrots. He thinks they taste like dirt. He don't mind them in coleslaw and certain things like that. I decided I better just leave it out of here. You can use frozen peas to add to the salad. All right. Let's get some tomatoes in here. I'm not sure if I'll use all of these. I feel like with tomatoes, it kind of thins the salad out a lot. I'll just see here what they look like. They look like they're fairly firm, so I think I'll be okay. I'm just gonna cut these in half, but this will give the salad some nice color. I typically don't grow these little tomatoes, but I have found that I've really enjoyed going down and eating them fresh off the vine. Get these in the bowl. I have some fresh dill here that I'll just chop up really fine. And you can use dried dill. You could use parsley or any fresh herbs that you like in your salad. I'll sprinkle this dill on here. And we have all of our vegetables chopped up, our macaroni's in there, so now we'll get our dressing put together. Okay, we're gonna put our dressing together, and we're just gonna use a cup of mayonnaise. I made some of my homemade mayonnaise. And in case you want to learn how to make this mayonnaise, go ahead and look at my videos and you will find a video on how to make it. It calls for 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Using only mayonnaise can result in a heavy, bland salad. So to cut the richness, you can use a tangy ingredient like sour cream or apple cider vinegar for a brighter and a more complex flavor profile. Calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm gonna use a little over a tablespoon of honey in place of the sugar, and 1 teaspoon of yellow mustard. I'm just guessing. I don't mind a little extra mustard in my salad. And you can use Dijon mustard if you prefer. Calls for salt. I just sprinkle some on, about the amount I think, because I'll probably be adding more to the completed salad. And we'll add pepper. And it calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And we're gonna get this stirred all up. That smells good. I'm actually gonna throw some dried parsley in here just to add some color. Okay, it's time to get the dressing on the salad. You could sample the dressing before you put it on the salad, but typically I just get it on there and then I try it once it's all together. And then I add more spices if it's needed. I think that garlic powder would be really good on here too, but I'm gonna keep it kind of simple this time. Get this stirred together. This looks like it's gonna be plenty creamy, but if you saw it was too dry, like you added too much macaroni or whatever, you can add more mayonnaise and more mustard, or a little bit of ranch dressing would taste really good in here too. At this point, I'll get it in the refrigerator and let it sit in there and chill for about a half hour or so that all the flavors can meld, and then we're gonna give it a try. I almost forgot one very important ingredient, and that is ham. I like to put meat in mine. I always slice off this edge piece. The dogs enjoy that part. I just cut it up really small. But you could do bacon, pepperoni, salami. Get the ham in there, that started in there. I don't see meat in a lot of the recipes, but I've always put meat in my pasta salad. I just enjoy the flavor that it gives it. And at this point, it's when I taste it and see what it needs, and it needs a little more salt and pepper. That should be good. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator, let it chill, and kind of let the flavors meld together, and then we'll give it a try. This is such a pretty salad. This would make such a nice dish to take just about anywhere. I love how easy it is to change this recipe up and to add so many different flavors. So it's time to give it a try. I love all of the fresh flavors that's in this salad. This salad would complement just about any kind of a meal that you're making. I hope that you found this video informative, and I hope that it gave you some ideas on how to put together your next pasta salad. If you enjoy videos just like this, consider subscribing, and that way you'll be notified every time I upload another video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in my kitchen. I look forward to seeing you next time. I hope you all are having a blessed day. Bye for now.